Cartoon Network has had some of the best cartoons of all time on the network over the years. Some of my childhood favorites like Ed, Edd and Eddy, Dexter's Lab, and so many more great cartoons. But not all shows have been hits. In fact, there have been a handful of shows that were downright terrible. Now, let me just quickly say that these are my personal opinions, and you may have actually liked some of these shows, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's taste is different, everyone's age is different, they're not geared towards people the same times and the same place in their life as everyone. However, with that said, these shows, for me personally, were just plain unwatchable. So let's take a look at the 10 worst Cartoon Network shows of all time.
Soak the milk, egg boy. Gather your inadequate strength and flee! Flee in the name of Lance the Rhubarb!
Starting on our list is the recent reboot of the Powerpuff Girls. Now, while I do think the original show is one of the best ever on the network, the reboot is just cringeworthy. It is almost universally hated by fans and for tons and tons of reasons. For starters, they replaced the original voice actors of the girls for no good reason at all. And the writing went to shit rather quickly. Not to mention how the infamous scene where the girls twerk. Oh my god, that's so awful. It makes me want to pull my teeth out. I could go on forever about why this show isn't as good as the original, but I'll spare you the details and tell you to stay away from this if you are a fan of the original series and have not seen it yet. Just stick to the original Powerpuff Girls DVDs. Number 9 goes to My Gym Partner's A Monkey, which debuted in 2005 and ran for a total of 96 episodes across 4 seasons. The show was about a human kid with the last name Lion being mistakenly sent to Charles Darwin Middle School, which is a school for zoo animals. I never found the humor in this show to be funny, and the premise was just kind of dumb to me. I mean, I guess I was kind of getting older at this time. I was kind of getting out of cartoons for the most part, about that age. But most of the times for me, the jokes just fell flat. The slapstick humor didn't hit for me. And for me, this was one of those shows that when it came on, I reached for the remote to change to Nickelodeon, and I was hoping that like Rocket Power or like Rugrats was on because I could not stomach the show at all. Next up, we have Squirrel Boy, which was a short-lived show that started in 2006 and had 2 13-episode seasons, but was pulled off the air in 2007. The show was received with bad reviews from both fans and critics alike, and Cartoon Network was quick to pull it from the air. Thank God. The show was so bad it never even aired as reruns on Cartoon Network or even its secondary channel, Cartoon Planet, where they do reruns of old series and series that were pulled off the air. They didn't even make it onto that. It was so bad. This cartoon was one that just needs to be completely and utterly forgotten. There was not a single redeeming quality about it that I can remember. And I hated this show when it came on. Another show that I never really cared for was Camp Lazlo. The show ran for 3 seasons from 2005 until 2008. Now, the show's creator, Joe Murray, also created the show Rocko's Modern Life, which I absolutely loved and was an amazing cartoon. So when I heard that he was creating this show for Cartoon Network, I was actually really excited. I thought it'd be a similar type style with adult humor and jokes punctured in and have all kinds of this funny stuff. But Camp Lazlo, however, did not have the same sense of adult humor and was just really not that funny to me. The show wasn't awful by any means. It wasn't unwatchable, but it just couldn't live up to the other better cartoons that were on networks at the time, and it just kind of fell between the wayside for me, and I just kind of forgot about it. Yet another failed attempt by Cartoon Network to bring back an old favorite by completely rebooting it was, of course, Teen Titans Go! The remake is almost universally hated by fans of the original show and new fans alike. The different style of writing turned so many people off of their favorite characters like Starfire and Beast Boy. They turned them into stereotypical one-dimensional characters that just fall flat most of the time. Cartoon Network has really struck out with reboots lately, and I am just praying and hoping they don't screw this up the same way with Samurai Jack, because man, I am excited for that. Our number 5 worst cartoon goes to Mad. Now, this was Cartoon Network's attempt to bring a sketch comedy series into the animated cartoon setting. The series ran between 2010 and 2013. It was met with somewhat mixed reviews from fans and critics. Some sketches were good, most were not. The humor just felt like it was over the top and really just kind of forced, and it really never connected well with me personally. Like I said, some of the sketches were funny, but they were far and few between. And if I wanted to watch a sketch comedy show that was kind of half-assed, I just watched Saturday Night Live, to be honest with you. This is not what I wanted in a cartoon, and it was kind of a failed experiment, and luckily Cartoon Network pulled the plug when it did, and they canceled the show back in 2013. Number 4 goes to 16, a show aimed towards preteens and takes place almost entirely inside of a shopping mall. And if that isn't enough to make you change the channel, then the writing of the show definitely will. It's full of boring and uninspired dialogue. The weirdest thing about the show, however, is that it actually was on Nickelodeon for one season before being dropped. It was later picked up by Cartoon Network. Not sure what they saw in this show, but they did run it all the way until 2010 somehow, so it had actually a pretty decent run, but I don't know how. This show is absolutely teeth-pullingly, ball-slappingly awful. Now, what could be worse than reality TV shows, you ask? Well, the answer is animated shows based on reality TV shows. It's like the holy grail of awful ideas, yet Cartoon Network's show Total Drama used this as an actual premise and ran for 5 full seasons from 2007 until 2014. The show plays off of popular reality television shows like Survivor, The Amazing Race, and many others. And while this is an original idea, it was not executed great in my opinion. It wasn't that awesome. I didn't care for it. The dialogue was flat. It was kind of forgettable in many ways. I never really got into it. Maybe if they had based a show or a season off of Jersey Shore, then maybe it would have caught my interest. But for the time being, this show just goes by the wayside for me. In our runner-up spot is a show that when I heard about it, actually questioned the Cartoon Network executives' sanity. The show is Destroy, Build, Destroy, and it is a live-action show hosted by none other than Andrew WK of all people. The show was an unusual type of game show in which 2 teams destroyed a random object and built vehicles from it, and the winners destroyed the loser's creation. It was absolutely insane. It ran for 37 episodes over 4 seasons from 2009 until 2011. This abomination was part of the Cartoon Network live action series called CN Real. And to be fair, all of the shows that were part of this were awful. Shows like Dude, What Would Happen and Bob E. Says are actually, I just feel like they're kind of grouped together and all included in this number 2 spot because CN Real was just a massive flop to me and I don't think anything good came out of it. And finally, our number 1 worst Cartoon Network show of all time goes to Annoying Orange. Yes, that stupid talking orange from the YouTube show actually got a TV series that ran for 2 seasons from 2012 to 2014. The show was disliked by almost everyone who saw it. It is annoying, just like the title claims. They weren't trying to hide it. It is freaking annoying as hell. Its attempts at humor are usually just awful puns. I mean, there's so many bad puns in the show over and over. They beat that dead horse to death again. And the jokes that make you reach for the remote. I mean, this was one you just had to flip off. Like, this was just so unwatchable. There is no doubt in my mind that this is, in fact, the worst show I've ever seen on Cartoon Network. And I pray that they take all copies of this show and burn them, and it'll never see the light of day again. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like button, as it really helps me and my channel out when you guys like and share the videos. But that was just my top 10. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think of the worst Cartoon Network shows, or if you actually liked any of these shows on this list. Like I said before, this is just a personal opinion, nothing really other than that. If you guys like some of these shows, it's not a big deal. I get that all the time. So if you guys like these shows, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section. Also, make sure to check out my video on the top 10 worst Nickelodeon shows of all time. And make sure you guys are subscribing for more videos like this, including next week's video on the worst Disney cartoons. So that's going to be a lot of fun coming out next week for you guys. But until next time, guys, remember, it's always K-Mac time somewhere. Take it easy, and peace out.